Welcome to the Vanishing Dream, where we unpack one of the most pressing economic crises of our time. Across continents, the foundational aspiration of homeownership is crumbling for millions, leaving behind a landscape of escalating rents and unreachable property prices. This isn't just a localized issue, it's a global phenomenon reshaping economies, societies, and the very fabric of our communities. Tonight, we delve deep into the complex forces driving the housing affordability crisis, exploring its catalysts, structural drivers, and profound future implications.
The dream feels like a cruel joke for my generation. We watch home prices in cities like Vancouver, London, or Sydney soar to astronomical heights, often 10, 15, or even 20 times the average annual income. In places like Dublin, a modest two-bedroom apartment can demand rents upwards of €2,000 a month, consuming well over half of a typical young professional's take-home pay. Saving for a down payment becomes a Sisyphean task when every spare dollar is devoured by rent, making the financial ladder to homeownership seem broken. Many of us feel like perpetual renters, trapped in a cycle where our financial contributions enrich landlords and investors, rather than building our own equity. The emotional toll of constantly chasing an unattainable ideal grinds down spirits and forces impossible choices about family, career, and even where we can realistically live.
Looking at the data, the picture is starkly illuminated across various markets. The median home price in the United States, for instance, has surged by over 40% since the start of the pandemic, vastly outpacing wage growth, which struggles to keep up with persistent inflation. Rental inflation has become a relentless beast, with average rents in some major metropolitan areas like New York City, Paris, or Berlin climbing by double-digit percentages annually. Concurrently, the rapid interest rate hikes by central banks globally, from the Federal Reserve to the European Central Bank, have dramatically increased the cost of borrowing. A mortgage payment on an average-priced home that was manageable 2 years ago has now become prohibitively expensive for many first-time buyers, pushing debt-to-income ratios to their breaking point. The mathematical limits of affordability are being violently breached, signaling a systemic imbalance that can no longer be ignored.
For years, central bank policies globally contributed to an era of exceptionally cheap money. Quantitative easing and near-zero interest rates, initially designed to stimulate economies post-2008, inadvertently flooded markets with liquidity. This torrent of cheap capital sought returns, pouring into real estate as a reliable inflation hedge and investment vehicle. Institutional investors, pension funds, and foreign capital were incentivized to acquire properties, often in bulk, viewing residential homes as stable assets rather than simply shelters for families. This demand shock, fueled by easily accessible finance, inflated asset prices to dizzying heights, creating a bubble that has now become a permanent feature of the landscape for many. The current high-interest rate environment is the pendulum swinging back, but it mostly impacts new buyers, not necessarily deflating the entrenched high prices enough to restore broad affordability.
The catalysts are clear, but the underlying structural drivers are a complex web, intricately woven and mutually reinforcing. This isn't merely a tale of supply and demand, it's a saga of policy failures, financial engineering, and societal shifts colliding to create an unprecedented squeeze.
On the supply side, the problem is multifaceted and deeply entrenched in many developed economies. Restrictive zoning regulations in established cities across North America and Europe, often termed NIMBYism or not in my backyard, severely limit new construction density. These regulations effectively choke off the potential for new housing, ensuring that existing single-family homes retain their inflated value and block the development of multi-unit dwellings. Furthermore, construction costs have skyrocketed, with raw material prices for lumber, steel, and concrete seeing dramatic increases post-pandemic due to supply chain disruptions and surging global demand. The shortage of skilled labor in construction, as younger generations opt for different career paths, further exacerbates the problem, delaying projects and driving up wages for the available workforce. We see permit issuances in many growth centers lagging far behind population expansion, creating an ever-widening deficit of available housing units.
Concurrently, powerful demand-side pressures have intensified the crisis, transforming housing from a basic need into a prime investment commodity. Institutional investors, such as Blackstone, Invitation Homes, and other private equity firms, have aggressively entered the single-family rental market, purchasing tens of thousands of homes in certain regions. In the United States, for example, institutional buyers accounted for a significant percentage of home sales in some markets during the pandemic boom, often outbidding individual buyers with all-cash offers. Foreign capital inflows, particularly from regions seeking stable asset havens, have also played a role in pushing up prices in global cities like London, Vancouver, and Auckland. The proliferation of short-term rental platforms like Airbnb has converted long-term rental stock into more lucrative tourist accommodations, shrinking the pool of available housing for residents. Demographic shifts, including an increase in smaller household sizes and delayed marriage, mean more individual housing units are needed for the same population, further straining existing supply.
This structural imbalance doesn't just show up in market reports. It rips through the very fabric of our communities. People are forced to make agonizing choices, like enduring multi-hour commutes from distant, more affordable towns, just to hold on to their jobs in the city. Essential workers, nurses, teachers, firefighters, who are crucial to urban life, find themselves priced out of the very communities they serve, creating critical staffing shortages. The vibrant mix of incomes and professions that once defined diverse neighborhoods is eroding, replaced by increasing socioeconomic segregation. Small businesses struggle to find employees because potential staff cannot afford to live nearby, draining economic vitality from once bustling main streets. Entire cities risk becoming gilded cages for the wealthy, while the working class is pushed to the margins, fostering deep resentment and instability.
The chasm between institutional logic and consumer reality is perhaps the most defining feature of this crisis. On one side, financial titans see opportunity and secure returns. On the other, millions confront a stark emotional reckoning.
Large investment funds have a mandate to deliver consistent, stable returns to their shareholders and pension holders. Residential real estate, particularly single-family rentals, offers exactly that: a predictable income stream and an asset that typically appreciates over time, providing a hedge against inflation. Companies like Invitation Homes, with portfolios exceeding 80,000 homes in the U.S., meticulously manage properties and streamline operations to maximize profit. Their sophisticated algorithms for setting rent and identifying optimal acquisition targets give them a significant advantage over individual buyers. This build-to-rent model, where developers partner with large funds to construct entire communities of rental homes, represents a significant shift from the traditional owner-occupier model. The logic from a corporate boardroom perspective is simply sound business strategy, maximizing asset utilization and delivering shareholder value in a low-yield environment.
This institutional presence translates into a quantitative shift in market dynamics. We observe an increasing concentration of ownership in rental markets, leading to fewer independent landlords and more large corporate entities. The financial instruments underpinning this, such as mortgage-backed securities and real estate investment trusts focused on residential property, channel vast amounts of capital into housing. While providing liquidity, these mechanisms also amplify market cycles, potentially creating systemic vulnerabilities if the housing market faces a significant downturn. Leverage ratios employed by some of these funds, though carefully managed, contribute to the financialization of housing, detaching its value from local income fundamentals. Our models show that even a small shift in institutional buying behavior or interest rates can cascade into widespread price volatility, impacting millions of households.
For the consumer, this divergence means a brutal, daily struggle against an invisible financial current that constantly pulls the dream of homeownership further away. Millennials and Gen Z, burdened by student debt and stagnant real wages, often find their path to financial independence blocked by unattainable housing costs. The psychological toll is immense, leading to widespread feelings of hopelessness and a sense of being permanently excluded from a fundamental aspect of the good life. Many are forced to delay marriage, having children, or even moving out of their parents' homes, fundamentally altering societal structures. We are witnessing a quiet crisis of internal displacement, where individuals and families are forced out of their hometowns simply because they can no longer afford to live there. In some of the world's most prosperous cities, the sight of increasing homelessness and the proliferation of precarious living situations stands as a stark, human testament to this profound market failure.
As we peer into the future, the forward macro projections for housing affordability paint a picture of continued challenge, yet also offer glimpses of potential solutions. The decisions made today, or delayed, will shape the very architecture of our economies and societies for decades to come.
Without significant policy intervention, current trends project continued price appreciation in highly desirable urban and suburban areas. This will solidify a deeply stratified society of housing haves and housing have-nots, exacerbating wealth inequality and further entrenching inherited privilege. The economic drag of high housing costs is profound. It reduces discretionary spending, stifles entrepreneurship, and limits labor mobility. Our econometric models suggest that if housing costs continue to outpace income growth at current rates, national GDP growth could be measurably suppressed over the next decade. The productivity gains expected from a dynamic workforce are diminished when individuals are constantly worried about making rent or saving for an elusive down payment. The specter of a widespread housing market correction, while potentially lowering prices, carries its own immense risks, capable of destabilizing the entire financial sector and plunging economies into recession.
Policy responses are emerging globally, though often contentious and slow to implement. Zoning reform, pushing for densification and mixed-use development, is gaining traction in places like California and New Zealand, challenging decades of restrictive urban planning. Some jurisdictions are exploring caps on institutional ownership or implementing vacancy taxes to disincentivize speculative hoarding, similar to measures seen in Vancouver or Berlin. Public housing investment, dormant for decades in many Western nations, is being re-evaluated as a necessary component of a comprehensive housing strategy, as evidenced by ambitious plans in Vienna or Singapore. Central banks, while primarily focused on inflation, are increasingly aware that their interest rate decisions have profound effects on housing affordability, adding another layer of complexity to monetary policy. Internationally, we see diverse approaches, from direct subsidies for first-time buyers in some European nations to land value taxes considered in others, each with its own set of potential benefits and drawbacks.
The societal consequences of inaction are dire, threatening to unravel social cohesion and ignite widespread unrest. We see the potential for a brain drain from expensive cities as talented individuals, unable to afford living there, seek opportunities in more accessible regions or countries. This erosion of middle-class stability can lead to declining birth rates, delayed family formation, and a profound sense of intergenerational injustice. When the basic need for shelter becomes an insurmountable financial burden, trust in economic systems and governmental institutions begins to fracture. The urgency to find sustainable, equitable solutions is not just economic. It's a moral imperative to preserve the very ideals of opportunity and social mobility. If we fail to act decisively, the dream of homeownership will not just vanish. It will be replaced by a nightmare of deepening inequality and societal division.
The housing affordability crisis is more than a market phenomenon. It is a profound societal challenge. It requires an urgent re-evaluation of housing's role in our economies, not just as an asset for accumulation, but as a fundamental human right and a pillar of social stability. The future health of our global economy and the well-being of its citizens hang in the balance as we navigate the complex path toward restoring the vanishing dream. Thank you for joining us on The Vanishing Dream.